my name is Shelby Tudhill. I go to Mulberry Elementary and I'm 11 years old.
What grade are you in?
5th grade.
Hi, my name is Emery Tudhill and I'm 7 years old and I'm in 2nd grade.
What emotions do you feel while taking a test?
Anxious because I don't know what grade I'm going to get.
Nervous and scared because I don't know how good I'm gonna do and what my grade is.
Okay, do you ever feel nervous while you are testing?
Yes.
How many?
Yes, I do, because some of the answers I don't know what it is, but most of them I do.
How many standardized tests have you taken this year?
To be honest, I do not know.
Once.
Okay, have you taken standardized tests in the past?
Yes.
Do you and your classmates talk about scores you make? If so, how does it make you feel?
I do, and most of the time it's a good grade for me and my friends, so I don't feel anything negative. I feel everything positive.
Do you and your classmates talk about scores you make?
No.
Do you feel like the tests do a good job of measuring your knowledge?
Yes, because they show me what I need to work on and what I don't need to work on, and what I can keep studying and what I don't need to study.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you feel like the tests do a good job of measuring your knowledge?
Well, yes, because I will get smart from it.
Well, thank you, Emery.
Thank you.
One.
Hi, my name is Ansley Graham. I'm 19 years old and I'm a freshman here at UNG.
Hi, my name is Maddie. I'm 18 years old and I'm also a freshman here at UNG.
We're here today to share some experiences we've had with standardized testing and anxiety in the past.
So I wrote down a story about my test taking anxiety, and so I'm gonna read it out. I feel like I've had anxiety during tests for as long as I can remember. Something about them just makes me so nervous, and sometimes I get to the points where I feel like I can't remember anything that I've studied. This started at a young age because I can remember back in 5th grade being so nervous for the CRCT that I couldn't even sleep the night before, and I couldn't even eat breakfast the morning of. It wasn't like I did bad on the test or anything. I just felt so much pressure to do good.
So I wrote down a story too, and I completely agree with Maddie in her statement. So I remember one time in 4th grade, it was the night before a big state test, probably the CRCT, and I was so nervous about it. It got to the point that I made myself physically sick that night to try and get out of taking the test. There was just so much pressure put on us at such a young age, and it still affects me to this age. No matter how hard I study or how well I know the content of a test that's coming up, I'll always get nervous. Even in elementary school, when my friends and I would compare scores after our tests and everything, if they scored better than me, it would put more pressure on me to study more and do better the next time, so I'd get even more nervous and just more stressed about it.
I believe that the amount of standardized tests that they have children take in elementary school is honestly pretty ridiculous. And I see why it caused me so much stress and made me so nervous. It makes it even worse if the tests don't stop there, and that a big part of getting into the college you want to attend is determined by how well you score on a test.
So I feel that my test anxiety would be much better if the high-stake test hadn't started at such a young age in elementary school. And I would definitely have enjoyed elementary school a lot more if I wasn't so focused on scoring good on that end of the year test and trying to get to the next grade, because that's what my teachers told me would be.
Hi, my name is Michelle Graham. I'm a middle school teacher. I currently teach 8th grade. I've been teaching since 1996. I've taught elementary and middle grades. Today I've been asked to just talk a little bit about standardized testing and anxiety with students. So I've kind of seen over the years that that's kind of changed a little bit, and I really see more test anxiety in the upper level kids and my middle school kids than I really did with elementary. But I think it comes from two different places. So I'll talk a little bit first about elementary kids and where I think their test anxiety comes from. And it's more about the performance anxiety that they have. So in elementary school, we give different types of standardized tests. So over the years, it's kind of changed. We used to give, end of year testing with CRCT, and that tested over all subject areas, and it was the end of year competency test. And the students needed to, score well enough on this test to get promoted to the next grade. And then over the years, that kind of changed into what we have the milestones now. And, it's not in elementary, they don't take it in all subject areas. Also in elementary, we give the COGAT and ITBS standardized test, and that's for gifted placement. And so I see a lot more anxiety in the kids in elementary school when they were taking the ITBS and COGAT tests than I did with their end of year test with the CRCT or the milestone testing. And I think it's about the outcome of the test and them knowing, what the outcome is. So when you're taking ITBS and COGAT testing, the kids are being tested to see if they're going into Target or the gifted program, and so it's more of an intelligence test. And so kids get tested in 3rd grade and then 5th grade, and then they get tested again in 7th grade if they didn't make it. And I think each time you test a kid and they don't get into that program, and then you're telling them, okay, you didn't get in 3rd grade, but we're going to test you again in 5th grade, that creates a lot of anxiety and pressure on the kid, and it starts to give them anxiety about their performance. And, then if they don't make it in 5th grade, you test them again in 7th grade. And so I think that's really disturbing, but that's on the outcome. If the kid feels like there's a lot of pressure to do well, then it's going to breed anxiety. But also in the elementary level, just across the board with the general standardized testing, is the whole process of the test. And elementary school, especially lower elementary age students, have difficulty or have had difficulty and stress and anxiety about how the test is done. So, you go to class, elementary class, with your teacher, you're there every day, you have certain procedures, teachers do things different ways, you get used to that. Then all of a sudden, at one point of the year, you're going to take this big test, and the school builds it up, your mom and dad at home are building it up, talking to you about, this big test day. Your teacher changes everything in the classroom, from the seating to, how she's going to speak to you. She has to read these certain directions. You have to sit totally quiet. You're not allowed to ask questions. She can't answer questions. The whole dynamic of this relationship that you've built with your teacher all of a sudden has changed during this testing period. And I think just that in itself creates anxiety and stress for kids, because they don't understand, why is this happening? They don't really understand at that age, what this test is about and why we need to know, if they can, answer these questions and how well they perform. And then the whole, what I used to see in kids is they get really stressed out about managing the test materials. You've got a booklet, you've got an answer booklet, you've got a question booklet, you got to make sure you're on the right, question, and then you're bubbling in the right space and you're not getting off. And then there's the whole thing about bubbling in dark enough. And, that just really stresses out young kids. And, if they get off on a question and they've got to go back and erase. And then, there was the whole time where, teachers had to write up information about how much they erased. And, it put a lot of pressure and caused anxiety on the kids. If they made a mistake, they didn't want their teacher to be mad. And, the teacher would come over and help them, erase and get on the right bubble again. And just the whole testing dynamic of what goes on during testing can be very unsettling for kids. They don't really understand it at the elementary level and what the purpose of it is and what the outcome is. The other part is parental pressure. How are the parents presenting that to the kids? So I see opposite, and some parents will, really stress it, tell their kid they need to do a good job, and, they talk it up at home. Every year when they get the results, they go over the results with their kid, and they just put all this pressure on their kid.